The walkout led the Phoenix-based Goldwater Institute to threaten superintendents with a lawsuit. The conservative think tank claims some districts broke state law by coordinating with teachers and closing schools for what it deemed an illegal strike. Employment lawyer Barney Holtzman helped explain the difference between a strike and a walkout. We often hear Arizona's a right-to-work state. That's a true statement, correct?
That's correct.
But what does it mean?
So right to work deals with compelling employees to join unions and whether or not you can be forced to join a union to stay on your job. So while it's true that we're a right to work state, with the issues that we're going to be talking about today dealing with the teacher walkout, so because they can't form a union and force their employer to bargain with them, the right to work issue doesn't come up in this issue.
Okay, there's also been a difference between the term strike and walkout. Can you strike in Arizona?
So certainly in a unionized workforce you can strike, and in a non-unionized workforce you can strike. I think it's mostly in this situation a political position. Depending on if you are for or against what's being debated, you will call it a strike or a walkout perhaps. They're not objecting to the policies and practices of their employer, the district or the superintendent. They're talking about funding from the state legislature. And so in a strike situation, you see that the employees are objecting to policies and procedures of their employer, and they usually try to disrupt their workforce or their workplace in order to get those concessions from their employer. Here, the district and the superintendents have not been treating it in that situation and haven't been allowing the workers to go out and go to the legislature and petition and to rally. And so it's not really a strike to me in that sense.
The Goldwater Institute, a conservative think tank out of Phoenix, has already said there's a possibility of some legal ramifications. I want to play this soundbite for you and get your take on it.
But regardless of the terminology that you use, what you have is public government employees refusing to honor the contracts that they signed, refusing to show up for work as an effort to force the government to do their will. That's undemocratic, and it's illegal, and it's dangerous as a matter of precedent, because what other public employees are going to refuse to do their work until their demands are met next time?
Okay, Barney, do those sound like valid statements? I mean, some points that probably some people at home probably have the same questions.
The Goldwater Institute certainly has a political motivation in the way that they describe what is going on and the ramifications of what is going on. Education in Arizona, there is a constitutional protection there, and it's considered a fundamental right in Arizona that you're be given a public education. The Constitution talks about 180 days of instruction for free to the public. Beyond that, the legislature has created some statutes that define what that 180 days looks like in terms of instructional minutes, and then they push down the authority and ability to deal with how that's all plays out to the individual school districts. If the districts are allowing their employees to take some time off, whether it is under established paid off policies or in some other manner, generally, the state has allowed the districts to decide how to go about ensuring that the students get their fundamental right to 180 days of free education.
What about employees? Just this week I overheard a district employee saying, I'm not getting a paycheck this week, and that's going to hurt me.
And that's a very unfortunate part of all of this, is there are some employees who are hourly employees who only get paid when they work. And so if they don't have any sort of leave built up or certain rights, if they don't show up to work, they're not going to get paid, and that is the law, and that's unfortunate.
What is the obligation of the district to that employee, that teacher who says, I'm here, I'm ready to work?
I think it's the first place you'd have to look at is their contracts. All teachers have a yearly contract with the school district, and so that probably discusses when they're able to come on campus, when they're able to work, what's required of them. Most of them have some sort of language, most employment agreements have some sort of language that you will do the work that is provided to you in the time periods that we provide it to you. And so while they may not agree with the decision of some of their colleagues to walk out, if the school decides to close for whatever reason, whether it's this issue, whether there's a health risk, whatever happens, that they have to abide by the decision of their employer.